So here's a straight line mechanism demo, or the straight line mechanism portion of the coupler curve. This is class 5 of spring 2021. And this is section 3.8 of Norton. And we are dealing with straight line mechanisms. These are classic mechanisms that can, we have some purpose involved, want to, for some reason, try to approximate a straight line. And there's very few authentic straight line mechanisms. The one that I gravitate, that I like the most is this Hwecken straight line mechanism. And I've built one of these and used it did some analysis of it. And we're going to use this we're going to play around with these. This is actually an approximation in the straight line. What's nice about this one compared to some of the others is this one is a continuous straight line mechanism. So that like as you're turning the crank, it'll keep repeating. Some of these others, there's only a short amount of portion that it can go back and forth. And if you want to maybe only go to the straight line thing, you might want to put a driving dyad onto the thing so that it will only go in the straight line portion. These Evans approximations, like there's only a short little segment. So trying these out and trying to figure, like take this Evans one right here, there's really short amount of thing. Some of these are actually kind of hard to achieve. The Roberts straight line mechanism, it's an interesting thing. The Chebyshev is also a very classic one, and it seems to be related to this Hwecken. All right, so we want to be on the lookout for that. I like this question. Why do we care? Don't ask why, ask what. This was ridiculous. I'm almost kind of embarrassed to have written that. Maybe not that embarrassed. Okay, so the Watt steam engine needed to be able to be reciprocating, and we wanted to be able to transmit this rotational thing right there and make this linkage come back up and straight up and down right there, right? And from what I read, apparently he was able to achieve this with a different configuration, but he had to use somebody else's already patented mechanism to be able to achieve this. So he came up with the right proportions to get as close of a straight line as he could right here in this location. And the idea is that this needs to go straight up and down, otherwise the packing gland would leak, right? So there need to have a travel of this straight up and down. And he's reportedly, according to the footnote that you too can read in Norton, this is one of the things that he was most proud of, James Watt, right? He invented the steam engine, and he was really all big time into that straight line mechanism. So these are the proportions of the Watt straight line linkage, and here is, I think I've already shown this in class, right? This is from an old, this is the 3rd edition from 2004, so that's a long time ago. 17 years ago, I remember 2004. That's okay. You can see that this is but we could do better than this, right? We can make a better, we can make a SolidWorks model out of this thing. And this one always bothered me. This is from another page. This guy, copyright 2000 right here. I'm just looking at this and trying to figure out where the straight line mechanism is of this thing. I almost think it's this blue one, this red one, and this green one right here, right? Is where they're calling it the straight line mechanism, because it doesn't look like the Watt mechanism. So that's also something a student could help me out with. You try to figure out how is that. Now it could be, I don't know. I keep looking at that and trying to figure out where we have this thing. These are the proportions of the Watt straight line. How is that the same as this? I don't know. And as I've shown you before, this is actually a better picture. I think I showed you this in the first class, talking about different mechanisms. But I think one of these is from Wikipedia, by the way. But you can see this is this Watt straight line mechanism right here, and here is a portion of the thing. And here is a 3D model of it where they're showing it, and then here is where they've superimposed it onto a suspension right in there. It's kind of cool, right? Because they want the thing to travel up and down, up and down. So this is sort of like this guide to make this thing go vertical. An example is straight line mechanism synthesis using the coupler curves. And so this is straight line mechanism number 1. And so we want to go to the Blackboard and download the page right here. Okay. So I think we want to try we're going to do this in class. I think we want to try, it says use one of the straight line mechanisms. So I want you to just pick one, right? And download it. So here's the Watt. Here's my Roberts. Okay, so here's me trying to do it. Right, here's my results. I got the Watt and superimposed him. I got the Roberts and superimposed him right here. So you could see that it was kind of limited from which ways they would move. That was kind of cool. Here is my Chevy Chev. And look at how close that is to, we'll see the Huecken. There's the Huecken. Here is the Evans. And boy, that's not really a large part of straight line, right? That's so you definitely would want to have this limited with one of those driving diodes, so it was only in the straight portion. And once again, here's another Evans. That's pretty limited right there. Here's another Evans. So I think it's both this portion and that portion that we're caring about. Oh, and here is the French name. Picolet. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. Okay, so this is the video showing that. I can demonstrate how I would go about doing it. And so what I would do is, let's take my favorite. What is this? The Hart inversion. What does that Hart inversion look like? Ooh, what is that guy? Interesting. That's going to be a little bit more work, but we could try to do it. So let's try to make the Huecken. So we'll save this image, and it's already got a name. Okay. And then we go back into our motion gen and maybe just trash all that. We'll trash this too. Bring him in the image in our Huecken, and maybe we'll zoom out a little bit. You know, we don't need to. Let's just maximize it. We don't need to go in there. I probably should have shown in a previous video some of the other utilities that we might want to try to explore, so to make this actually more of a practical and useful tool. And I could explain why I was attempting to move these so that it would land where O2 would land exactly on 0, or as close as I could get to it. All right. Maybe I'll show that to you now. So here I'll create this, create that guy and that guy, right? No, I just had to tag right there, right? And so now I'm gonna hit that finger, and boom, we have our straight line mechanism. What we could do with this is we can export as a GIF or a GIF. Which way is it? I don't know. A PDF, that's kind of cool. A text or an XML. This text and I think the XML is something we could download a readable file, I think, that can be read back in here, right? Or the text is going to be handy. Let's download a GIF right here, and it's exporting this, and we'll hide it for right now. And let's also export. Let's see if it lets us export again here. So I'm going to export as a text file. and I open this up, and we need to read this. All right. So I think I think this can actually be read back in if you do it the right way. And there's even instructions in here. Enter each pose info of new line in the following format. It will be read as a comment for this thing right here. So, but what you have right here are the all the parameters, right? That for the thing. So you have to receive that we have the x coordinate and the y coordinate and the joint type, whether it's so it's a revolute. I don't know what the P stands for. Maybe it's a point. Maybe. And ground. It tells you whether something is ground right here. So here's the ground. Here's a ground. So you could use these. And what I did when trying to figure this out is I'd actually plot out these points in maybe like AutoCAD or something just to double confirm what each of these things means, right? So they're going in between link to link to link, but you could also see that these are coordinates. Now start each link in the following format right here. So I think these will actually read the thing through. So this could be useful when we want to, say, try to use the thing that's on this screen right here for a practical purpose. And it says download multiple files. Sure, I'll allow it to do it. So once you have that, once the downloader gets done onto this thing, let's also try the PDF. Right, so let's we can open this up as a separate file, and now we have this animated GIF or GIF of the thing, which is kind of nice because it also has the thing we had in the background. So we can go take a picture of a real mechanism and superimpose it on top of this, right, and part of here. We also can see what the here's the report, and this report we could use this instead of the text file. So maybe I should have looked at that. And so some of the homework I will ask for you to generate this. I want you to go out and try to find one of my tasks. I want you to go find a real mechanism and try to and analyze the thing for its motion like this. And then in using this, we could scale the thing up with all these proportions, scale the thing up, and then we could create our own mechanism in SolidWorks, let's say, based on this. So it's a pretty cool a tool and task, and I think this makes it a pretty cool topic for our course. So I will call this one straight line mechanism. Yeah.